like Clark, I can't stop. Fuck around, make my 40 pop. No popcorn, I pop pistols. Reaming my body, clothing no issue. Bitch, you look sick, you need a tissue. You drop a body, I just might bless you. I'm metrosexual.
Yo, what is going on, everyone? It's Wraith here, back with another video. Now in today's video, I'm going to be going over the long-age question that every single controller player asks me all the time in my stream. And it is it worth it to switch from controller to mouse and keyboard? So basically what I'm going to be doing in this video is kind of going over a bunch of cons and a bunch of pros surrounding kind of the fact about mouse and keyboard and if it's really worth it for you to actually switch over. And I'll be kind of sharing my thoughts and letting you guys know what I personally think. Obviously this isn't a definitive thing, it's still up to your personal opinion. But yeah, if you're looking forward to this video, make sure you slap that like button, comment what you want to see for a future video, hit that subscribe button, use creator code WraithFN, and check out my stream in the link in the description or WraithAM on Twitch. Now let's get right into today's video. So before we get started with the cons list, I'm going to basically just let you guys know that I did make the switch over from controller to keyboard and mouse around 5 months ago, give or take, basically when I just started up my Fortnite channel, basically because I wanted a PC to edit, and I realized that it's probably smarter to switch to keyboard and mouse if I had a PC, but I'll talk about that at the end of the video basically. But let's get right into the cons list. So the first thing that basically a lot of you guys probably already know is you're going to be a very bad player for a while. Like it's not a specific time because it's quicker for people to get used to keyboard and mouse for some people, and then it takes way longer for different people. For me to get used to keyboard and mouse to actually the point where I could play solo games and feel confident playing solo games, or to the point where I could actually hold my own in a fight when we're playing squads or duos, it was around 2 months-ish for me. And now granted, I wasn't playing every single day, but I was playing a good amount of time. So unfortunately, yes, it does take a while to get used to it, but that kind of depends. If you're playing 8 hours a day, or you're grinding it out and you're grinding creative, because I didn't have creative when I switched, so I had to just grind out playground or whatever the fact or whatever the thing was. There was no editing courses, there was no aiming courses, and I didn't even know what Kovacs was back then. It's going to take you a while to get used to it. It may not take you as long as it did for me, but you're not going to be very good for a good month or two. And talk about just being good, you're not going to be, if you want to play competitively, you're not going to be at the competitive level probably for around 3, 4, 5 even months. Now, I've just probably reached my 5th month on keyboard and mouse, I think, and I'm a decent player. I don't think I'm that good, but I think I'm a pretty decent player. But even to get to that next level requires so much more time dedication, because getting into my next tip, I'm so far behind everyone. Or not next tip, but next con, basically. I'm so used to saying tip. But the next con is basically what I just said, is you're going to be so far behind in the competitive scene or even just against other keyboard and mouse players. So what I mean about that is for the competitive scene, a lot, and I mean a lot of the pro scene, all played CSGO or played games before this on keyboard and mouse. So they've had the natural mouse aim, they've had the training because they've played hours and hours of CSGO or whatever game, Rainbow Six Siege, or whatever game they've played before. Like I know Zextro, Mongrel, Tfue, Booga, all of them, they played PC games with keyboard and mouse before Fortnite. So they have a huge advantage when it comes specifically to aim. So they have years on you. Like that's the biggest thing that I find is no matter how good your natural aim is, a lot of people have years of practice over you just specifically on aim. Then you have to factor in the point that they've been practicing building and editing for probably around the last year or so, when if you just switch to keyboard and mouse, you're going to have to grind edit courses, you're going to have to grind building drills, you're going to have to grind 1v1s, you're going to have to grind Kovacs and Fortnite creative to get your aiming, your building, your editing, and all your mechanics back up to par. Now sure, they still probably won't be ever as good as like Zexro's aim or Mongrel edits, or unless you do it every single day, then maybe, but you can still get it up to the point where you're slowly catching up. I don't think it's very possible to catch up to where those guys are, just because it's so late. Now obviously if Fortnite stays for another 3 or 4 years, sure, then you're gonna have time, plenty of time to catch up, and if you actually put in the time and dedication to becoming a better editor, better aimer, then yeah, sure, you can catch them. But just in 2 months, don't expect to have as good aim as Zextro or whoever your top Fortnite players are, because they've been putting in hours on Kovacs, hours on CSGO for years. Now, I'm not just talking about Fortnite, like I said. I'm talking about every game they've played before. Well, if it's an FPS game, kind of relates to Fortnite aim. The next thing is that's kind of annoying is you're going to have to buy new equipment, like you're going to have to buy a mouse, you're going to have to buy a keyboard, a big mouse pad, etc., etc. But honestly, for me, that was more of a fun thing to do because I got to look through mouses, I got to look through keyboards, got to get ones that are very specific to me. The only problem is sometimes you'll buy one and you don't really like it, so you're going to have to get a new one, or it might not be that good, or whatever the case is, and you're going to always want to upgrade your mouse pad, you're going to upgrade your mouse. Whatever the case is, you're always going to have to be upgrading the equipment instead of just getting one controller and be fine with it. Now, the next thing is your confidence is going to be shaky, and basically you're not going to want to play the game as much. This kind of relates back to you're going to be bad for a couple months or whatever, because basically you're just going to get frustrated after a while. This is me at least. You're going to be like, hey, I don't know why I made the switch. I want to go back. This isn't fun for me, blah, blah, blah. And I'm just going to say you got to keep grinding through it. It's unfortunate, but basically it is just a thing of where you got to put in more time to become better. Now basically that's it for the cons list, and now let's go into the pros list, which I'm sure a lot of you guys want to know. So personally, and this is from all what I think personally, again, it's not factual, but there's a higher skill gap in the game on keyboard and mouse. So basically what I mean about that, and I'll talk about this again in the future, is basically you can always practice your editing, your building, your aiming to make it that much better. On controller, sure, you can always grind your editing, your building, your aiming, but you can only do so much with two little joysticks for your aiming or for your editing, again, or for your building, I guess, basically all of your mechanics. I personally think only a certain select amount of people can break through that skill gap on controller, and those are the top controller players. For example, Jarvis, Jarvis, whoever, like all the Sway, all those players on controllers who are very good aim, very good building, and very good editing. But I don't think a lot of the average controller players can make through that skill gap and break through and actually still continue to improve. That's why I think keyboard and mouse comes in, because there's such a big skill gap for you that it's almost impossible to hit it. You'll still see Mongrel, Bizzle, all these players still continuously improve. Now the next thing is you're going to have faster edits as well as better flick shots and aim. Now obviously you guys might be like, how are you going to have better aim? L2 spam is absolutely incredible and it's overpowered, or whatever the case is. And yeah, sure, that's true. But if you look at people like the best aimers in the world, like Mongrel again, or whoever you're talking about, Booga, they have absolute god tier aim, and sure, L2 can do that as well, but they can also hit unbelievable flick shots that are very, very hard to do on controller. Now obviously you guys can still do it with aim assist, but if you have unbelievable aim, like I'm talking like top tier aim on keyboard and mouse, I personally think that your aim is better than an L2 spammer, just because you can decide basically every single shot you hit, and if your aim is just so pure and so talented, then I personally think it's going to be better than an L2 spammer, like I said. The next thing is, like I said, faster edits, faster flick shots, as well as you're going to be able to obviously build quicker. And again, I'm not saying controller players can't build quicker. I'm just saying for most controller players, you're going to be able to build way quicker on keyboard and mouse, because you're going to have way more mouse room. You're going to be able to flick your arm way more, and you're going to have your entire arm to build instead of just a little joystick. Now, obviously, there's people, like I said, like Face Sway or Creative Warriors that do that very, very well on controller. But for the most part, it's going to be definitely easier and way quicker to build, basically, and every mechanic on mouse. Now, kind of going back to my first tip is you're going to be able to practice long-term way better. Like I said, once you start grinding controller, you're going to start to feel that you're not getting you're not improving as much as you'd like. Your aim's only improving slightly, your editing's only improving slightly, no matter how much time you put in. What I think about keyboard and mouse is that you can put in the time and you're going to still see improvements no matter what. It kind of goes back to that skill gap, where basically I don't think there is that much of a skill gap on keyboard and mouse. I always think you can improve because there's so much more access to you. You can play Kovacs. You can play editing courses way more and way quicker than you can on controller, for the most part, like I said, remember. And the last pro that I think is basically after Fortnite, so down 4 years down the road or whatever the case is, I think whatever the big game is going to be, it's probably going to be another PC game where it's going to be PC oriented, because I think this building thing has a big feature, and I think whatever the next game is going to be, it's still going to require you to have good aim, and sure, you can be on controller and again still try and go pro, but I think that for the next game, again, it'll probably most likely be keyboard and mouse oriented, and more people will be on keyboard and mouse. So basically, long term, you're looking forward to other games because you're going to already have that natural aim from Kovacs and from Fortnite or creative courses or whatever the case is. So basically, overall, you guys are probably wondering, well, what do you think I should do? And basically, what I think you should do is, if you're on controller and you're top 100, top 150 in the kind of region you're in for the finals, and you're consistently placing there, not just one time, then I would say it's probably best for you to stick on controller, because you're probably one of those naturally gifted people on controller who can actually get to the next level and get to the pro level on controller. But if you're in the top 500, top 1,000, or even not even close to 1,000, then I think if you have a PC, it's worth it to get keyboard and mouse. If you're going to eventually get a PC down the road, again, I think it's worth getting keyboard and mouse. If you're just going to stick to console and you're just sticking to your PS4 or Xbox, then probably stick with controller. But if you really want to take your game to the next level, I think for the most part, it is worth switching to keyboard and mouse. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you slap the like button, comment what you want to see for a future video, hit that subscribe button, use creator code WraithFN in the item shop, check out my stream, and I'll see you guys all in the next video. Peace.